Well, thank you for joining me. I'm going to jump right in. Just want to welcome my magnates here in the space today. I'm excited because I want to share with you how to really start leveraging Facebook in a way that can empiretize what you're doing regardless of your business ventures. And most of you are using Facebook for business, but not actually using Facebook as a business. And that's something that I emphasize in a lot of my teachings and trainings in terms of monetizing Facebook as being a Facebookpreneur and being able to expand what you do and take it to the next level, starting in the now. So this is all about creating more than meets the eye types of results for your business and being able to leverage Facebook. And what I want to share with you during this time is about considering starting a masterclass style podcast and being able to provide value for your audience. Most of you are already providing value for your audience, and you are sharing posts on Facebook, you're sharing memes on Facebook, you are also leveraging your podcast and vlogcast or videos or so on Facebook from other platforms, or you've been doing Facebook Live, so to speak. But what I want to share with you is about being more intentional in terms of creating, whether it's a series or whether it is something that you are going to do more consistently so that you can actually build more of a extensive part of your brand and business for this specific initiative. All right. So some of you are thinking, well, why a masterclass? Why masterclass type of podcast? Well, for one, those of you who want to position yourselves as authorities and want to build up your personal and professional branding for know, like, and trustability, or know, love, and trustability, I should say, then being able to provide some type of teaching and adding value in that way is going to be tremendously beneficial for your audience, but also for you with your business. All right. And I want you to imagine for a moment that Facebook is now your empire. This is specific for you. Again, you're not just leveraging it just for business, but now this is actually a business for you, and not a business where you are creating extra work for yourself. In fact, it could be more simplistic and more streamlined, more simplified, where it could be less work. And I actually do have a product that teaches more in terms of how you jumpstart, with that. But I will be sharing a few pointers, if you will, with you during this time. All right. So Masterclass is in session, and I want to share with you again about starting to transform your Facebook profile into a masterclass style podcast. So if you had to give a title for this, that's what you want to write down, right? And even though my extensive teachings talk about how you not only leverage your profile, but also your fan pages and your groups, but I just want to jumpstart you with a short masterclass in terms of how you get started with this initiative and how you can actually lead into other business adventures or even segue individuals to whether it's fan pages or groups that maybe you're doing something more extensive. Okay. So again, masterclass is in session. All right. So there are a variety of ways that you can get started with this initiative. I recommend that people lean in with the series first and start to sort of test it out, right? And you definitely want to have a goal in mind in terms of what it is that you want to accomplish. Because when you are in business, you have to be intentional. And when you are a magnate or emerging as a magnate, in a sense, you definitely have to be intentional because there is a higher call to your influence and also your wealth of wisdom that you share and you dispense. And so being able to provide, whether it's mini trainings or so, or just adding value to individuals in a masterclass type of way, again, will benefit you tremendously for impact and income. Now, in my teachings around this, I encourage individuals to think from an empire perspective and to, again, embody themselves as being more of a Facebookpreneur than just someone who's using Facebook for business. Now, most of you already have a podcast or you're doing YouTube videos, so to speak. You got vlogging that going on. And again, you may not want to add more to what you're doing, but I do recommend that you actually do something fresh here, right? And so you can take elements of your works currently and pull a segment or a topic out and then talk about it. And maybe even if it's just for 2 to 5 minutes. And then you can let individuals also know that you do have more extensive trainings or opportunities around that particular focus. And then you can link those specifics in the comments. All right. You can link them in the comments. So again, being able to show up, whether you want to land more clients or you want to, quote unquote, let's say, sell more products or so, you want to be able to use these masterclasses in the podcast format to be able to, again, segue people. Why do it in a podcast format and not just a masterclass? Because you want to build up some consistency for real, for sure, I should say, and also have something that people can tune into that is just not a one-off. Now, this isn't about showing up in terms of let me do Facebook Lives, because most of you are probably saying, well, I've done Facebook Lives. And so I've sort of done a podcast version of this, before. And most of the time when people are doing that, a lot of times they are doing it more so on their pages. And even though they may use their profile and then share to a page or share to a group, and that's all fine and dandy. But again, most of the time that doesn't really have a long-standing impacted income type of continuation, I should say. And it's simply because it's not leveraged in a Facebook is the business way. It's leveraged more in I'm trying to bring exposure to what I'm doing. And I'm hoping that people who are in my network or so can discover this and now come on board. Now that is some of it in terms of even what you do in terms of the masterclass type of podcast, so to speak. All right. That's some of it. But again, you're doing it from a different umbrella. You are broadcasting from your empire. All right. And Facebook is your empire. And that's the mindset that you must embody. All right. So one of the things I encourage is that you create an outline in terms of what it is that you want to speak about. Now, me primarily, I don't necessarily do that because my best work comes in impromptu. And so I normally already have a product for what I'm going to speak about or some type of service initiative. Or if I want to speak about something, then I can create a product around it very quickly, or an offering or an opportunity, or leverage it as an opportunity to speak, to get booked to speak. And that's something else in terms of when you start to show up in a masterclass type of format and provide value, you can definitely position yourself for speaking opportunities, right? So this is more than just for products and coaching, so to speak. You get to expand this. And that's why in terms of creating something that is really more than meets the eye, because it needs to be something that's more than meets the eye and something that's unique to you. Now, something that I want to bring out, because I'm not here to provide you with a cookie cutter system or format, is that I'm creating the awareness and the expansion for you to come into alignment with how to best leverage this using this type of mindset and way of being, all right? Because more than meets the eye to you can be definitely different than what it is to someone else. We all have different businesses and we have different goals, all right? So getting started with this, you do write down a few topics that you want to talk about, whether you want to niche focus it down or you want to build personal and professional branding by storytelling about something that can be to the general public and also addressing a specific audience of interest that is your target audience. And I share within my teachings how you can create different products for both the general audience and also your target audience and be able to leverage that, for segments, for sure. So creating your outline and first deciding, do you want to just try this out by doing a series or you want to come with different series? That happens to be one of my signature authorities is creating podcast series. So I create a lot of podcast series and a lot of podcast style products because I serve a variety of different industries with providing content, different levels of topics and focuses, so to speak. I don't have a podcast. Well, I have in the past in terms of I do have some that are for specifics, but majority of my podcasts, because I'm addressing different industries, is that then I'm going to be focused more on a series for a specific industry and then connecting them or segueing them to a specific product or a specific opportunity or another offering. And so you can definitely do series. So even outside of your primary expertise, if there's an area in your life, maybe you're doing goal setting right now for lifestyle, for your business, for your finances, so to speak, you can definitely do masterclasses in terms of those areas. And you don't have to look at every area that you speak about to be an area of your primary expertise. It's whatever is pertaining to success and well-being is something that a general audience can tune into as well as your primary audience. So again, you can speak from certain different topics, but I do share in my works in terms of how you create those products for these different segments. And I will share a little bit about that, during this time. So again, once you decide whether you want to jump in with a series and be someone who just provides series instead of locking it into this is what I'm always going to be talking about, you have to decide whether you are going to niche down for this or you're going to just start off expansive, a little bit more broader in terms of being an empowering masterclass provider, so to speak. All right. So a success, a peak potential performance, type of masterclass. Again, you have to decide that. So once you decide that, if you don't already have products that you can render, or not render, but segue people to, I'm going to encourage you to create, even if you do, create a new version, all right? Let something more evolutionary come from you than just what you already have. But you can start there. You can start with your services. You can start with what you already have and then start to provide, like I said, maybe a 2 to 5 minute masterclass, a mini masterclass, or something that is no more than 15 minutes. Something that is no more than 15 minutes that you can share some value. It can be, let's say, one tip from 10 tips that you have on this particular topic or a principles that you have. You can maybe share one and provide a mini masterclass around that, right? Set them up and then give a call to action. Now, I do want to say that in each segment that you provide, you don't necessarily have to be pushing a product or something specific, but you can invite individuals to check the comments, right? To check the comments. And they can learn more about you, more about what you do, or if they want to learn more about this specific focus. So that's something to consider. You don't necessarily have to be broadcasting that all the time. Now, something I want to go back to that I want to bring up is that you don't have to show up like a Facebook Live. It doesn't have to be face to webcam, so to speak. You can definitely use Zoom to do your recordings and to do pre-recordings, so to speak. And I actually recommend that when you are wanting to start this initiative, that you pre-create your content, right? You can pre-create your content. Me, I'm someone, again, I can get in the flow, get in the zone, and once I record, boom, it's up, because I already have tons of offerings and opportunities. So I don't necessarily have to do planning out for these specifics. If something hits me that I feel inspirational about, to talk about, to speak about, then I can organically get on and talk about it. And a lot of you can do that too. Now, some of you don't do it because you may think you need to plan it out a certain way. But again, it's going to be different for everyone. But I believe that if you do take the time out to at least think about, let's say, three focuses that you could do mini talks about and provide a mini masterclass. And again, make it light. It needs to be podcasting style. It doesn't need to be lecturing like what I'm sharing with you. It's like I'm talking, not necessarily at you, almost like with you. And I'm just sharing. All right. I'm sharing some tips, some knowledge, so to speak. And so you can be picking up what I'm putting down in terms of, yes, taking notes, but it's not like you are necessarily being lectured. So it's supposed to be designed to be a more easier, more casual type of flow. All right. And so some of you may be thinking, well, if I want to get booked to speak, then don't I need to be providing a button down type of version? Well, not necessarily. It just depends on, are you desiring to get booked to speak for workshops where it is more laid back? But you also can do masterclasses where you actually are rendering. If you have an outline of something that you are providing, then you can definitely do it in that way, but it's still more in a podcasting format. Now, something that I want to address is that this is not about you recording, whether on using Zoom or so, and then you put it on YouTube or your other podcasting platforms and then share it to Facebook. No, this is about you actually uploading the video, the MP4 format, you uploading that to Facebook. All right. You uploading that to Facebook. Can you definitely cross promote it and create different versions of it as segments on your YouTube platform or your podcasting platform? Absolutely. But when embodying Facebook in this way, you want this to be specific for Facebook. You don't necessarily have to say, this is for my Facebook audience. But when you record it, it is with the intention that you are uploading it directly, no link, just directly, to Facebook. And then again, segueing individuals to the comment section, to your offerings and your opportunities. Now, you can take the time out to be creative in Canva and to create backdrops or so for whatever it is that you're doing that will already have offerings that you want people to consider. Or if your segment is sponsored, like my segment is sponsored by one of my coffee lines, but there are opportunities for individuals to learn more about other offerings and opportunities that I have. So again, it's just going to be up to you. All right. So I want to quickly talk about segueing to Facebook pages and to groups, and actually being able to expand this for impact and income, because most people are using groups, they're using fan pages, but they're not using it to their higher advantage, right? Because again, we're talking about Facebook now being the empire. So I share in a lot of my teachings in terms of, when you are looking at Facebook in this way, everything is an empire, but they also are considered departments within the larger umbrella, if you will. All right. So your group can be considered an empire itself. Your fan page can be considered an empire itself, but they also are departments. So sometimes people would start out on their profile and then segue to using the group as an underground podcasting initiative, their own version of Patreon, so to speak. And then again, then starting to do the broadcast from their page. And then some will start on their page and then broadcast to their Facebook page. But I recommend their Facebook profile, I recommend that you start on your profile and then create a separate page for this particular initiative, and then segue. You can start segueing people there. All right, for sure. So I get more into this, like I said, in my products and teachings. But my goal today was to be able to jumpstart you with some basics in terms of repositioning your mind, how you see Facebook, and then starting to be more intentional in a different way in terms of leveraging your profile, right? And again, you have to decide whether or not you want this to be something that's consistent, something you're going to lean into with a series or come with several series, whether it is monthly, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, or maybe several times a week. Again, that part is going to depend on you. Or if you are going to have a niche focus and say, I'm going to come on and I'm going to start teaching about certain concepts. And then if you would like to explore more with me, then I invite you to look in the description or in the comments, so to speak, or join me in this group. And if it is a pay-to-play group that you're using where people have to click on a PayPal link or so to join it, then you want to clarify that in the description and then segue them, into that group. And then maybe you have a podcast going on in that group and it can be pre-recorded and scheduled. And that's one of the reasons why I like segueing people to fan pages and to groups, is because you can actually do scheduling and syndicating. All right. But again, today I just wanted you to get started with doing this on your timeline, doing this on your profile. And if you have not created digital products, I will share that there are free platforms that you can use if you want to create ebooks or mini publications, because I recommend creating low to medium content types of works. And they're quick, fairly quick to produce, and produce even on your own, not using AI. And I'm not knocking AI. I'm just saying just what you can do organically, all right? Repurposing post and blog post content to create, whether it is PDF downloads or so, or create some type of ebook, or create a workbook, so to speak, a handbook, a tips book, or just being able to also do some renderings of mini masterclasses, some type of digital product. So platforms that you can use for self-publishing are Kindle Direct Publishing. It's a free print-on-demand service of Amazon, and you can be published within 24 to 72 hours, and they provide free ISBN numbers and free book cover templates. There's also platforms like payhip.com that you can use to be able to upload digital products of many formats, all right? And also, if you have physical products, you have coaching services, you can use that platform. Also, there's gumroad.com. You can use those platforms. They also have posting and blog initiatives, and you can definitely use those to create specific offerings and opportunities that you can then share in the comments. So there's a variety of different ways that you can, that you can start to leverage this, all right? So those are platforms that you can use to produce products that can be segued into if you don't have already, like I said, your own products. But even if you do, I do encourage you to still create new products. But before closing here, my encouragement is if you already have something, yes, start there. Start there. And you never know, something newer life may come through what you already currently have. You can create more business breakthroughs this way, all right? And set yourself up for high-end success. Yes, you can use products to segue people as easy yeses, so to speak. But if you really want to magnetize what you're doing and go all in, then definitely provide something in a short block of time. Because if you can say it in a short block of time and capture individuals, and they're like, oh, I have to have this, I need to work with you, I need to know more, then you definitely want to make sure that you have a high-end opportunity. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a program, so to speak, or a package, but it can be something that is customizable. And I'll make sure that there's also a link for you in terms of if you haven't created a high-end program or opportunity, I should say, and why you should create one, even if you're not offering it yet, then I'll make sure that that is included, for sure. So there's so much more that I can say around this, but the goal was to be able to provide just food for thought, in a sense, and to expand your mind in a way to see this differently. Even if you've been using Facebook this way in terms of coming on and doing podcasts, well, not necessarily podcasts. Most people don't categorize it as a podcast. They just, I'm coming on doing a Facebook Live. I'm coming on adding value, so to speak, or I'm coming just talking about certain things, and that's okay. But you want to make it where it is more masterclass oriented, even if it's very conversational. Definitely provide tips and trainings and things that can be thought-provoking and to get individuals started. Then again, lead them into maybe an extensive masterclass product or an opportunity, something that you have coming up. You get to decide that, right? You can check in the comments about my products around this particular topic. And also, if you're a coffee drinker, then you can definitely check out my branded coffee line for this specific initiative. All right. So I hope that this has provided tremendous value for you. So much I could say, much more I could say around this, but this was just to jumpstart you with this initiative. And I am certainly looking forward to being back with you soon to share more so that you can take what you do on Facebook to a more than meets the eye empire expansion. Wishing you the absolute best. Take care and stay blessed.